Yeah, what's good, everyone? So this right here is going to be a breakdown on how my understanding of reading liquidity basically is. So first thing first, liquidity is nothing but a wick. Okay, that's one thing that needs to be made clear from the get-go. Wicks equal liquidity. Liquidity equals wicks. Okay, anytime you're in the market and you're searching for where's liquidity sitting at, where's it resting at, what liquidity is going to be targeted, yada yada, you're going to be following those wicks. Okay. So one thing that you want to pay attention to is the bigger the wick, the more the liquidity, right? Due to wicks being liquidity, a bigger wick will equal more liquidity, and vice versa. A smaller wick will equal less liquidity. And with that being said, the larger wick tends to be targeted first, right? As there's more liquidity sitting there, and as market is always going to be targeting the most liquidity. Within a certain range or anything like that. And the same as that thing for smaller wicks. So the good thing about this understanding is that we want to get into, or at least when we get into our positions of, I'm not going to say swingable, but swingable positions, saying where we can hold it longer than a shorter position, basically. Like, let's say this position right here was like a few, let's say we can just go ahead and get it like 70 pips or whatever. And this right here was a full 160, you know what I'm saying? So this was times two of what I would say, false position basically gave off, okay? And so like I said, what you wanted to do with that is you want to pay attention to the smaller wicks. I call them little to no liquidity. Those are going to be the entries that give us that overall push compared to fatter wicks giving us just a minor push due to that liquidity soon to be grabbed later on. So the first thing that we definitely want to make sure we understand is the process of grabbing and creating. And this simple process is just how market moves in itself, right? Is market is moving nothing like this. It's continuous flow of money all day long, 24/7 type shit, right? So as we go up bullish in the market, what you're going to peep is how there's going to be wicks left behind, and these wicks are going to be untouched, right? And so what happens is market then comes back down because it can't go bullish forever and it can't go bearish forever. So once market comes back down, what is it going to be targeting? It's going to be targeting all of these wicks that it previously created. Okay, so this goes in, so like I said, grabbing and creating. So as we grab these wicks over here, what are we going to do? We're going to create wicks to the upside. Okay. And we always grab what we create. Remember that. So as we just did that, we grabbed these bearish wicks. And as we went down bearish in bearish market ended up creating wicks to the upside. And they're now untouched. So now market is, again, it's not going to shit forever and it's not going to go bullish forever. So now market is coming back up bullish. What would it be targeting? It's targeting all these wicks that we previously created, right? And this is the flow of liquidity in itself, because if there's no liquidity sitting up here, there's no wicks, there's nothing to target, right? Market is only following liquidity, basically. So that's why as we grab, we create, right? So as we grab bullish and we grab all of these wicks over here, like I said, what are we going to do? We're going to leave wicks to the downside, and they're going to be untouched. Okay, we're going to go over this. They're untouched. Nothing has ground them. There's been no engulfing candle, none of that, right? So what's going to happen? And then we're going to come back around. Now we're going to go back bearish. And why did we go bearish in market? Because we had all this liquidity sitting right here. That was our target. That's what we have to grab. Because again, if we created it, we're going to grab it. Okay, we always grab what we create. And so again, now that we come down bearish, what will we be doing? Leaving weights to the upside. And why would we be leaving weights to the upside? Because initially all we're doing is continuously setting market up for the next movement, right? So as market leaves these wicks, it's going to grab those, right? As market grabs those, it's going to leave wicks behind. And again, it's going to continue this motion forever. Okay. And so that's why you want to pay attention to the fat wicks and the smaller wicks. Okay. Because it'll just show you which liquidity should be targeted before anything. So hopefully this right here makes sense. Again, we always grab what we create. As we go bullish, we'll leave bearish wicks behind. Okay. And then what we'll do is go bearish. And the reason we go bearish is because we left all these wicks behind and we have to go grab those wicks. And as we do that, we leave more wicks behind. Go grab those wicks. As we do that, we leave more wicks behind. You know what I'm saying? Continues that flow back to back. And again, this motion is what I just call the motion of grabbing and creating. Market will always be flowing like this. Okay. So let's say you're right here in market, you know what I'm saying? Right here. And you're initially having your turning point of going bearish. Why would you go bearish? Because you have wicks that are chilling all the way down here type shit. So we have reason for market to come up and grab all of these wicks. And as we do that, again, we'll be leaving wicks to the upside that are untouched. And the reason they're untouched is because it's setting up for future movement. Okay, and this is why we're able to really understand where market is setting up for. Because it'll leave those wicks behind. And due to us knowing that these wicks are left behind and untouched, and I say untouched as a meaning of they have not been grabbed yet. So the main thing about the grabbing and creating is a bearish engulfing candle. So let's just draw out, let's say this is a bearish candle, whatever, or a bullish candle, whatever, don't really matter. And then boom, we have us a bearish candle. So which wick just got grabbed up? This wick just got grabbed up. Which wick just got left behind? These wicks just got left behind, right? So again, this is the motion of grabbing and creating. So as we come down bearish, let's say we have another bearish candlestick. Which wick did we grab? We grabbed this wick, right? Which wick do we leave behind? We left this behind, right? So what are we doing? We're leaving these wicks behind as we continue to grab bearishly, right? So let's say market reverses here, for example. Now we come up. Why would we have reason to come up? We got wicks chilling here, right? This is liquidity sitting here. We've been grabbing this liquidity. And now we're going back up bullish. What would we be doing? We're going to now grab these wicks sitting over here. And what signifies the grabbing stage is an engulfing candle. Okay, so let's delete this real quick and let's draw out this engulfing candle, bullish engulfing candle for this example. Oh, it's all good. So they got us a fat bullish candle. All right, cool. So what did this candle do right here? It just grabbed this wick that was previously created, right? And due to it doing that, what else did it do? It left this wick behind, as well as left this wick behind. So now that we're now grabbing bullish and market is now in the motion, let's redraw this one right here. Let's redraw this so we can see a little bit better of the grabbing stages. So boom, now we're coming back up bullish, right? And we're coming up bullish because what? We have all these wicks chilling over here. So boom, market now, another bullish engulfing candle. And again, the engulfing candle signifies that grabbing stage because now what are we doing? Now we're grabbing this wick. And what are we leaving behind? We're leaving behind this wick, right? And so now this is the continuous motion of market, like every single day, any time frame, it does not matter. You can do this on the higher time frame. You can do this on the fucking seconds time frame, okay? But you're gonna get the motion of grabbing these wicks and leaving wicks behind. So now let's say market is gonna come back down bearish, right? Because again, this is the motion of grabbing and creating. So now, boom, now we have a bearish engulfing candle. Okay, we got a wick up here. We got a wick up here. What wick just got grabbed up? This wick just got grabbed. And what was this wick just previously before this candle? It was a created wick, creations, okay? We always grab what we create because these creations are set up for future movement. So we had this creation here. We have this creation here. We have this creation here. These creations are resting here in order for a market to, in the future, continue bearishly, right? The same exact way we left these wicks over here for market to come up bullish. So now, boom, we grab this wick, we grab this wick, all that's been cleared out. Now we have a bearish engulfing candle. Remember, the engulfing candle is important because that signifies that next grabbing stage. Because this bullish candle, what was it doing? It was engulfing this wick, meaning it was leaving this wick behind. Right. So now that we have a bearish engulfing, what's this bearish engulfing doing? It's grabbing the previously created wick and doing what? Adding a new creation. And that is added on with this. So now we have liquidity sitting up here. So now that we have a bearish engulfing candle, boom. Now we have another bearish engulfing. So what just happened? Now we just grabbed this wick and left this wick behind. Now we have another bearish engulfing. What did this do? Now it grabbed this wick and it grabbed this wick that, like I said, was previously set here for this movement. And what do? We left this behind, right? So now let's say we come back up bullish. Why would we want to come back up bullish? Well, we just cleared out and grabbed all of these previous wicks to the downside, meaning what do we have left? We have nothing but bullish created liquidity, double top liquidity chilling for us, waiting for us, right? So what does that signify? That means that now this is created liquidity, this is created liquidity, and this is grabbed liquidity. So now the motion has went back from being bearish to now back being bullish. So now we're back going to be in the bullish market. And why would we have reason to go bullish? Well, we got all these wicks chilling up here. So boom, another bullish engulfing candle. And what does this do? We leave this wick behind and we continue grabbing everything that was over here, right? Now, let's say we just have a major bullish engulfing. What would this have just done? This right here would have cleared out all of this liquidity that was chilling over here that was previously set up for this exact movement, right? And as we did that, this got cleared up right here, okay? And as we did that, what was left behind? This was left behind, this was left behind, this was left behind, and this was left behind. So why would market have reason to go bearish after we've been bullish? We just had all this fucking liquidity sitting down here waiting for us to be grabbed up. So what would market do? Market can go right back down bearish, right? And again, this is the motion of grabbing and creating. I'll draw this another color real quick so we can see. Just the motion of grabbing and creating all day long, okay? You're gonna simply see how wicks are created for future movement to be grabbed. And as those get grabbed, we will leave creations behind, all right? So now let's say market just shit itself, just completely shit itself. Could have been fucking crazy ass heavy momentum candle. Why would this have a reason to shit itself? Maybe because we have all this liquidity resting right here. There's not liquidity up top. Why not? Because this candlestick just grabbed everything that was previously created, right? So again, that goes into the whole motion of grabbing and creating. So let's go ahead and go to the live charts just so we can see what's going on and what I mean by this. So for this example over here, let me go ahead and change this back to, let's just use that color. Fuck it. All right, bet. So market, let's come over here a little bit more. All right. Market is bullish, right? You don't look at it like a bullish line anymore or a trend line or whatever. It doesn't really make too much sense. Understand the motion of grabbing and creating, okay? So let's go through this. Market was bullish. As it was bullish, what did it do? It left these wicks behind, untouched, right? And then what did market do? Market came down, grabbed all those wicks, grabbed all of these wicks over here, as well as created, let's say just create this double bottom over here type shit. So what's left behind? This is left behind. This is left behind. So why does market have reason to go up? Because what it's doing is it's grabbing what was previously created. And as we go bullish, what do we leave behind? Wicks, 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 right? And then what happens? We go bearish. So why would market go bearish? Because what it's doing is it just grabbed up partially all of these wicks right here. And as we did that, what did we do? We left all this liquidity to the upside. So why did market go bullish? Probably because it was grabbing everything that was previously created, right? So as we just went bullish for this whole entire way up, basically, let's just signify this whole bullish move up, right? As we did that, what did we leave behind? Wicks, wicks, double bottom, quadruple bottoms, wicks, wicks, double bottoms, right? Didn't we not leave all this behind? Because what this bullish engulfing right here, as well as this whole bullish move right here, signified that everything on this side of market just got grabbed up liquidity wise, right? Market is always going to target the most liquidity. So if most of the liquidity got grabbed up sitting right here, look, let's see what it looks like for live market, just so you can really get a gist of this. So look at this. Market as of right now, with these bullish candles, has cleared out all of this liquidity. This right here has cleared out all of this liquidity. So there's no reason to go bullish. And what did I say about bearish engulfings at the beginning? That signifies the next grabbing stage of market. Okay, let's zoom in on this. And again, it signifies that next grabbing stage because what is this bearish engulfing doing? It's grabbing this wick. Market was just previously, look, before this candlestick even popped off, what was market doing? It was doing nothing but grabbing bullish, right? And that's why it was the bullish grabbing stage as of right now. So what happens next? What do we just grab? We just grabbed bearishly and left bullish wicks behind, right? So now that we're grabbing bearishly and market was previously bullish, but there's no more bullish liquidity to grab. What, these highs smacked, these highs smacked, everything in between smack. There's no liquidity. It no longer exists. Okay, understand that. Once you grab this liquidity, it's non-existent. Market can't reverse itself and go target this liquidity again. It doesn't work like that. But what we can understand is, look at these wicks left behind. And what did I say earlier? The fatter the wick, the more the liquidity. It's like a fat wick to me. It looks like a lot of liquidity sitting there. Wicks sitting here, wicks sitting here, wicks sitting here, a whole bunch of wicks sitting here, as well as added wicks, right? Because these wicks didn't clear each other out. There's no bearish engulfing chilling in here. Okay, these wicks created more liquidity, right? It made a bigger puddle of fucking liquidity right here. Okay, so we have nothing but bearish wicks to grab. And so what did this bearish engulfing candle signify? The next grabbing stage of the market. And so we want to be bearish. If we are looking to sell, we need to see that market is grabbing bearish liquidity. There is no possible reason for us to be bearish while market is continuing to grab bullish. It makes absolutely no sense, because that's not the liquidity that market is targeting. That's not the liquidity that market is grabbing. Okay, so let's just let this play out so you can see. Well, actually, I'll just go ahead and exit that out. We can go back to it real quick. So the overall gist of this is to understand that all that liquidity right there was left to be grabbed up bearishly. And look what happened. Market came down and grabbed all of these wicks. And as it did that, as market shit itself, right? Because you see these wicks to the bottom. Watch, look at all the wicks to the bottom. Grabbed up. Wicks right here to the bottom. Grabbed up. Wicks to the bottom. Grabbed up. Wicks to the bottom. Grabbed up. Wicks to the bottom. Wicks to the bottom. What happened? Grabbed up. And what was left behind? What was created liquidity? Created liquidity. Created liquidity. Created. 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 Right? So when market came back, bullish engulfing candle right here, signifying the next grabbing stage of the market, what did we have? Why did we have reason to go bullish? Look at all these fucking wicks behind. Over here, we have all these wicks to come target. Why? Because we just targeted all of these lows. So everything that all of this, it no longer exists. All this liquidity no longer exists. So what's the liquidity that does exist? Everything on the outskirts. All of this exists. And that's why it's targeted. That's why these highs right here get ran through, because this was targeted liquidity after we just continue grabbing bearishly. Okay, so this is just a simple understanding and my understanding of liquidity, and again, structure comes along with this, but as long as you can just simply understand how to read market as to where it should be going next, is an amazing help. So again, the fatter the wick, the more the liquidity. We have a fucking puddle of fucking liquidity sitting right here. So what happened? Gets ran through. We have liquidity sitting right here. What happened? Get ran through. Right? Liquidity sitting right here. What happened? Gets ran through. You don't have to point. I'm not pointing out certain structure points, certain highs and lows for certain reasons. No, simple understanding of market grabbing and creating all day long. As we go bullish, market will leave bearish wicks behind. Once we turn around, come bearish, what will market do? Target these previous wicks and create more wicks to the upside. And why to do that? To be targeted for future reasons, right? So boom, that targets that. This comes down here and targets that. Okay, so you're continuing that flow of market. As long as you can always go through market and understand this, you'll be good. And again, this right here is on the 1 hour time frame. You can do this on any time frame. It does not matter. What is this right here? A fucking quadruple top with what? Wicks created and untouched. These are untouched wicks. Right? So when market was coming down bearish, what were we doing? Grabbing all of these bearish wicks. Everything in here, it now no longer exists. It's non-existent. So what does exist? These wicks to the upside. So once we change grabbing stages and we're no longer grabbing bearish and we're not grabbing bullish, why do we have reason to come over here? Because the wicks were created so for that. They literally were created in order for market to continue bullish. And again, as market goes bullish, what will it leave behind? It's going to leave these wicks behind. For what? For future movement to come back down and grab that. Because again, we always grab what we create. Okay. So the number one thing that I would recommend with just getting a better understanding of reading liquidity like this is simply just go back and market. Does not matter the time frame, and just trace it out. Just understand the flow of grabbing and creating, because that's all market is doing, is grabbing and creating. And you'll simply be able to see that this is all market will ever be. This right here. Right. So this was the exact structure, basically, live structure. So let's break that down. Market, wicks behind, grabs that shit. As it grabs, wicks behind, wicks left all the way behind. As it grabbed all of this, right? So now market reverses. What will market be targeting? All these fucking wicks that we just created, right? So what will we do next? Wicks behind. Market wants to come back down bearish because what did it do? It just grabbed up all of these wicks. Okay, we have reason to come down bearish because we have these wicks to grab, right? And we don't have to grab everything instantly. That's not the point of understanding this. Don't go in here looking for entries because, oh, we can grab all this and grab all this. No, there's still structure and understanding that you have to have. But as long as you can read a wick, you're going to have a better higher, you're gonna have a higher probability of getting into good trades. You know what I mean? So as we come down bearish, what do we leave behind? Bullish wicks. So when market goes bullish, what will it be targeting? These bullish fucking wicks. And as it does that, what would it do? Leave bearish wicks behind. So due to us not grabbing all of these bearish wicks, this is just going to be combined with that. So now the market has future reason to come down and run all of that, right? Because this has been added to these wicks over here, because it's a plethora, a gathering of liquidity that has been untouched, okay? So that's what this video is gonna break down. The next videos will go into zones of liquidity and probably false sales or so. But as of right now, I definitely wanted y'all to get an understanding of just how I read liquidity. This is the only way I read liquidity. Realize there's no reason to, again, trade terminology based. It makes no sense. As long as you have an understanding of structure and market in itself, you're good to go. So as long as you have an understanding on how to read this liquidity, how to read wicks, because again, wicks equal liquidity. Every time I say liquidity, I'm saying wick. Every time I say wick, I'm saying liquidity. Okay, because that's all it is. That's what drives market. Okay, so you'll be able to see and go back and understand how these wicks set us up for future movement. Okay, always remember that. And with that being said, make sure to go back test that, and you'll get a way better understanding and more comfortable with how to execute these trades.